Hi everybody, I'm Sandy here at Reflection Paints, and you guys are going to be watching our macrame feather tutorial. So everybody who got a kit, in your kit, I'll just explain what you're going to get. In your kit you will get some macrame cord, you will get a stick which has a piece of string on it, and this string is the one that you're going to use to hang your macrame feathers up. So you don't want to get mixed up with any of the other cords. And so what you will need at home, you're going to need some hairspray. You will need a comb, a really good sharp pair of scissors because you're going to have to shape your feathers. And you can have a pet brush, works really good to brush out your feathers. I got a couple pet brushes here, just like that. And a piece of paper if when you go to cutting them and you're scared just to freehand it, you can draw yourself out a feather and then you can trace it on your cord and cut it. And now I'm going to let Carol come and she's going to explain the rest.
Hi, I'm Carol, and I'm going to be taking you through the steps on how to make our macrame feather wall hanging. So as Sandy said, you have a long piece of cord hanging from your stick. What we're going to do first is we're going to attach it to our stick just so that you can hang it up and see what the level that you want your feathers at. You can adjust it after. So we're just going to tie it on and we'll adjust it at the end. So all you're going to do is basically do a knot, but you want to make it looser so that you can slide it on and off. So you see mine has the little knob there. I'm going to want to make it a little bit bigger so that if I want to slide it off I can. So you're just making a loose knot. And then I'm just going to go to my other end. And this one doesn't have as much as a knot, so this will probably be the end that I slide on and off. And you'll understand that more as we progress in the video. So what this is for you to hang up, so when you do your feathers, you can refer to the lengths that you want. Now you'll see with all three of our sticks, there's different curvature. So it really depends on your stick as to how long you're going to make your feathers and so forth. So I'm not going to use this one right now. I'm just going to put it to the side. So as Sandy said, you're going to have 3 colors in your kit. You have a large feather, 2 small feathers, and 2 medium feathers. So for instance, in this one, this is my large. These are my 2 medium. These are my 2 small. I'm going to be working on this one. This is my large, medium, and small. Okay. And you'll also notice on the bag, I've written a number with each. What that means is there's enough in here for 2 leaves, and you're going to use 16 of the small pieces for each small one. So you'll see those numbers. So when you're doing your feathers, you are going to want to think about how you want to arrange them before you start. So this one, I've placed them at random lengths. If you do it at random lengths, it's going to be a little bit easier. This one is going to be symmetrical, which means when I put my other medium one on, I want it the same height. When I put my other small one on, it's going to be the same height. And I want them to be pretty close to the same shape. So that's why this one's a little more complicated. This one, you don't have to worry as much if your 2 mediums aren't the same, you know, they're not cut exactly the same shape, and there's 2 small. So this one's a little bit more work, but what you're going to find with this workshop, what's kind of nice about it, is you don't have to do it all in one night. You can, if you want to take breaks and come back to it, you certainly can. So I'm going to take this off the wall, and because I'm going to be attaching. So I'm going to do my medium leaf. So on the bag, it says that you need 24 each. I've already done one of my leaves, so I have to find my long piece in here. So you're going to have a piece that's approximately 32 inches long, and that is going to be the spine of your feather. Okay, so what you're going to do, I'm going to try to do this slow. you're going to fold it in half. You're going to take the loop and we're going to make a knot that's called the lark's head knot. So I'm going to put it over top. I'm going to wrap it underneath. So there's my loop underneath. And then I'm going to put my ends through it. So your ends are going to be approximately the same, and I'm going to pull it tight. So you'll notice all of the lark's head are on the same side. So you're going to want to be conscious of that. If you don't, like if you notice that it's not the right way, you just take it apart, flip your stick over, and do it the other way. So my loops are on the front, so I'm going to want to start with this over the front. Bring it in behind, bring my ends through, and pull it tight. Okay? So that's going to be your first step. Okay.
Do those ends have to, they can be not matching?
Well,
at the
they don't
bottom?
have to. I should bring this down a little bit, so I'm just going to tug on it a little bit.
But it's not, if they're close, it's good
If they're
enough?
close, yeah. They don't have to be exact, but you don't want like 2 inches difference or something like that, because that's going to affect your leaf when you go to shape it.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take all of these, you're always going to fold them in half. So you're going to fold one in half and you're going to place it underneath. You're going to fold the second one in half and you're going to go under, over, through. So I'm going to go under this loop, over the spine, and then the ends of my other one are going to go through.
Wow.
So that's what they
so fun.
So that's what they call a vein in the feather. So this is one vein, okay? So I'm gonna continue in that fashion. Now, when you first get started, sometimes you get worried that you're not starting your veins on the same side. What you do is you look at the one above. So this is on top. So that means I start it like that. This is on top, so this is gonna be my starter on the same side.
How did you know where to put that on the string?
You can lay it anywhere.
Like, how did you know where to start
You know
this?
what? We don't have to worry
Oh, okay.
because
Excellent.
you can slide them.
Oh.
So once you have them all on, okay, so do you see how this one's shorter right here? I'm just gonna grab it, line it up with the other one, and pull. If this spine twists, it doesn't matter. And you're just gonna pull it up to the other one, okay? I'm just gonna come from this side because I'm kind of an awkward angle. So I'm just gonna continue in that fashion. I'm gonna lay this one under because that one's on top. So that's the direction has to start. So I'm gonna take this one under, over, and the ends through. Now on your instruction sheet, there's also pictures if you need the step-by-step. This is where you maybe want to fast forward till the end because it's kind of boring watching me do all of these. To tell you the truth, the smallest ones, even though it has the less veins or the least amount of veins, is the most finicky. So they're
Bigger ones are easier?
yes.
Oh.
So do you see how they're uneven there? I'm just gonna grab this end, I'm gonna line it up and pull. And see it's a little bit twisted right there, the spine? Doesn't matter. You're just gonna push it up. And you'll see how this sliding of these veins will be helpful.
I think macrame's come a long way in design.
I think
It's too
so too.
quiet right now, but I remember macrame being like a plant hanger.
Yes, or owls. Do you remember owls were really popular? Yeah.
I never made an owl, but
Well, I
do
didn't
remember,
either, but
I remember making a plant hanger, a few of them. I had an auntie that was big into macrame. But this whole decor that you can do with them, besides, you know,
Oh.
the two things.
yeah, there's, you know, some of these wall
Pretty
hangings are pretty intricate, but I think once, you know, if you really want to get into it, it's just practicing your different knots. And even if you only know like 3 or 4 basic knots, it's pretty amazing how many things you can create now. And of course, having technology to be able to go on YouTube
Right. Makes
to
it
watch
easy
somebody.
to learn. Yeah, I watched a video last night of someone doing a great big wall hanging, and they were using like a portable
Clothes rack.
yeah,
yeah.
okay, I couldn't find the word. Dance
Yeah.
mom for like
Yeah.
a million years, couldn't find the word.
Yeah.
A clothes rack, and then they were just sitting in front of it and doing this huge macrame, and I was like, wow,
Yep.
but a good idea. Yeah.
That's what I see.
There probably is specific macrame hanging things, but
Yeah, I think people are pretty
Yeah.
ingenious with what they do, right? So if you go through and you see they're a little bit loose, just kind of pull at them. So I'm on my last one now. When you're making your, say your large one, you want to make sure you leave a good amount of the spine, because you want to make that V shape. So if you brought your last vein down to here, let's say, you don't have much to make that point. But what's nice about these feathers is it doesn't have to be a specific shape. You can shape them how you like. Some of them are quite long and narrow, you know, whatever you would like. Okay, so I have mine done here. And if you want to hang it up for your random one to see where you want it, you can. Or if you just want to eyeball it on your table, you can. But this one's, you know, because it's symmetrical, I want that V. I have to be a little more careful where I put things. So I want to put my stick how it's going to hang. Okay, and so I want my black in the background, then my medium, then my small. Okay, so when I look at it, I'm going to take a pin and just see how it's twisted here. I don't know if you can see that, Patty. The spine is twisted. Just flip it over.
oh, cool.
Same with this one.
Yeah, I was
This
gonna
one's
say.
twisted. All I have to do is flip it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you look at it, the height's not too bad, is it?
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Your right one probably could go up just a little.
This one can go
Yeah.
up. So this is what's nice about your veins on the feather, is they slide. So I can push them up a little bit. So I'm just going to hold my base and I'm going to slide them up. So is that pretty good? Or is it too much now?
No, I think it's pretty good.
If it was just me, I would go back where Sandy is and look, but
Yeah,
because I'm
she
instructing.
has the best view, I think.
So, all right, so I'm going to keep it at that height. So I'm going to lay it back down. And you don't have to do this next step, but I find it's quite important. So this is your spine, and these are your veins. I'm going to just pull this one a little tighter. When you go to brush it out, if you do not put a half knot at the bottom, there's a good chance you're going to drag these veins off when you brush them. So what I do is I just do a half knot just to hold them in place. Okay?
Makes sense.
Now you're going to use your pep brush. If you don't have a pep brush, a really sturdy comb would work. The reason I have a comb is after I brush out, you wouldn't, like this is Sandy's, you wouldn't have to do it this, but mine is quite fine. I would take a comb and I would take out all the fuzz, because if you brush and you don't take that fuzz out and I go to a different color, your fuzz is gonna get into that next cording.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So you're just gonna hold it so that, you know, your hand's in the middle, and you're just gonna brush out. And you wanna get it as close to the spine as you can, because that'll make it fluffier. I always leave my spine to the end, but that is not necessary, so I'm gonna just do the other side. It's kind of crossed underneath.
That pet brush works so good.
Oh, it works way better than just a regular comb. So if you don't have a pet, ask your neighbor who does. So I've done these. Now I'm going to take these and I'm going to brush them out. And then I'm going to do this.
Wow.
Now when you get to the spine and you find it's not full enough, like let's say you have that gap there. Oh, mine is really sharp. You can just spread these out a little bit so that they fill it in a little bit. Okay, and I probably should flip it over and do the other side, but it actually looks really good. Like it's already combed out. Again, it depends on your brush. So again, it depends whether you're doing random or not. I've already cut this feather, and this feather, okay?
Yeah,
If
we can see they're a different shape
yes.
than this one.
So like when you look at this, compare it, that's how it started, okay? So I am just going to go around the outside.
You're gonna freehand it.
I'm gonna freehand it because this isn't gonna be your final cut.
Okay.
But if you look, you can see that there's some cording that's a little bit, you know, shorter than others. Just try to trim so you're just to that outside. You don't want to come in too much at this point. So I'm just gonna take this, and this is where your scissors are super important. If you don't have sharp scissors, it is going to not go as nicely.
So go to your neighbor that sews or is an avid crafter and borrow their scissors if you don't have any.
Right. Okay, this is also really important. Take what you have cut off, and if you have a garbage can, put in the garbage can.
Okay, we can do that if we can find a garbage can.
Or I'm just gonna do this.
Oh, someone gonna get that later.
Because if you do not get those little pieces out of your way, it's gonna stick to your other feathers.
Oh, I can see.
And then you're
there's
going
a
to
couple
have
right
to
on that one.
Right, and then you're gonna have to pick them off.
Oh, that's gonna be annoying.
So
Good tip.
I'm just gonna do this side again. I'm just gonna try to trim just so that I'm just getting those extra ends off. I don't want to go in too far at this point. Don't worry about it looking perfect right now.
The shape looks pretty good already.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this.
Knock it out of the way.
Yeah, if you had a garbage can underneath your table, that would be good, or your countertop. Now, I'm to the point that I want, because this is a symmetrical one, I want a V, I want these two to be the same shape. So, you don't have to do it on this one. I did not slide any of my leaves off on this one. I made them, I hung them all up, and then I cut them. But you can make and then cut. You can do it in any order. You can make, cut, or make all of them and then cut all of them. But like I said, it's really important, get rid of those scrap pieces of your cording. So, remember how we told you to make this loose? I'm gonna take this off. Sorry, but my dog brush.
It cut you?
Yes.
Oh my God, you brush your dog with that?
So, this is the important part.
Maybe
You're
we
going
better
to
get a new
use-
brush. I don't know. I'm concerned.
You're going to use a paint stick, a wooden spoon handle. So I'm going to slide this off, and I'm going to keep that loop. Okay. okay? I'm gonna put the paint stick through it because otherwise you're gonna lose your loop. But I'm gonna show you. If you lose your loop, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do it exactly like you did before. You're gonna put it over, you're gonna bring it through, and this is, you're gonna have to bunch up your feather. So this is why it's good to not lose the loop. And then you're gonna bring it through. But now, I have to
take it off again. Oh, comb it.
I have to comb it again because it's a mess. So that's why it's important to have like something to slip it on. Like I said, a paint stick or a wooden spoon handle. See, I've got fuzzies, I've got to get rid of those. I'm just gonna loop it to the other, or flip it to the other side so I can get this side because it's pretty matted from flipping it through.
What kind of cord is this? Like not
4 millimeter.
Yeah.
4
Single
millimeter? Single thread?
Yep.
The single strand
Single strand. Okay.
for your feathers is actually quite important. I've used it where it's the 3 strand, and then you have to twist and undo it. No. Okay, so
single strand combs out really good.
yes, if you're wanting fringes or combing out, single strand is the way you want to go. All right, so now I'm gonna slide this off. I'm gonna put my paint stick in. Okay, I'm gonna show you a little tip if you don't want it. I tend to freehand my feathers, but if you're worried about getting a good feather shape, what you could do is I could lay this on here, and I put the middle, and okay, I want it to be about this wide, and I want it to be about here. I'm gonna take it, and I'm just going to make a feather shape. These aren't my sharp scissors, these are just craft scissors. I'm going to cut it out. I'd lay it down where I want it approximately. It's too tall, so just snip some off. And then you take a Sharpie and you would just make dots. Don't try to run a line, but when you're making your dots, try to come out from the paper a little bit so that when you cut it, you won't see those dots. Okay, so you would do that.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do that method with this.
Okay.
So now I want my 2 feathers to be the same. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to lay this one on top.
Oh, wow.
Just want to make sure.
Well, you've already hairsprayed that feather.
I have.
So what if we didn't already hairspray it? What would
It'd
happen?
be very
harder to do your
It
shape.
would be harder.
Okay.
And it'll be really flimsy.
Okay.
But I'll show you. So if you're making your feathers one at a time and you want to cut them, you'll do the hairspray. And that'll be coming up. I'll show you that.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is, when you brush it, your top is always going to come down, right? Because of the weight.
Not straight out. Okay.
So don't have your feathers like that. You almost have them like a Christmas tree coming down on the sides. And I'm going to lay this on. And then I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm just going to make dots. Now on the gray, it's a little bit harder to see.
I can see them.
And I'm just going to make dots so that when I cut, I'm going to follow those dots. Okay, so I'm going to get that one out of the way. cut where I see my dots. Like I said, on the gray it's harder to see, but of course when you're at home you'll be able to see it better. Get these out of the way. Okay. Now, how you cut it, if I have to go this way, I find it awkward for myself.
Okay, so I was gonna ask that. Do you have to cut it in a certain direction?
No.
You don't?
No.
Whatever feels best.
And you can lift it a little bit with your hand to get your scissors underneath those sides. Sandy's probably cringing because she's a quilter and she's seeing how I'm cutting, and she's probably saying, oh my God, Carol, there is a much better way of doing this.
No, actually, I don't use scissors very often.
No.
Oh, you use your cutter.
I use a cutter.
Your rotary cutter.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna
Trim it.
trim it a little bit, but now I'm gonna show you what you can. Actually, I'll do my other small feather and then I'll show you the hairspray.
Okay.
So now I've got this approximately how I
Oh,
want
I
it.
gotta put that back on now.
I need to put it back on. So I'm gonna take it off. I put my finger inside so I don't lose that loop. And when you're putting it back on, you want your loop up here to be on the same side as what you already have. And I'm gonna bring it back. Tighten it up. Okay, now I'm gonna finish up my small one.
Okay.
What I did
Oh,
with
you
my
started
small,
it already.
I started on this paint stick
Okay.
because I know I want it to be on there.
Okay.
I could start on here and slip it off. It doesn't matter,
Gotcha.
but when you go to do the small one, I'll show you why it's more difficult. Your pieces are small. So when you go like, so I'm sliding it underneath my first one. So again, my top loop is on this side, so I want to have my loop, my first loop on that side. These are smaller, so now I have to put it under, over top of the spine, and then these through. So you have just a little loop in there to grab things. So it's more finicky to do your small ones, but the nice thing about it is you don't have as many to do.
Less cutting too.
Yeah, the cutting is
Minimal.
One scissor length.
One scissor. I can see how you could easily pull this right through.
the spine when you're brushing,
Yeah.
or like bring
no,
these
when
off.
you're making those, like, you know how when you're doing your last part, your tail's over here, they're barely there, so you wouldn't want to pull too hard.
No.
Yeah.
Now, this is my little one, and I have this much spine. I'm just gonna.
Oh, you're done. Oh,
I had started already.
okay.
I'm not gonna cut too much. I'm not gonna cut close,
Oh.
because then you don't have a V. But I'm just gonna cut some off so that I'm not brushing out as much. Now, I did this just for demonstration. If I were you, oh, I didn't tie it.
Oh, she didn't tie it.
I would start all my feathers off on the stick, and I'll show you why. And the little ones are a little more finicky to brush out too, because you don't getting close to the spine. You just want to be a little bit careful.
So you already knew your measurement? Is that where it's
No,
gonna
that's
hang
why
on
I'm going to
this?
show you that I should have started on there.
Okay, because I was just thinking maybe we didn't do that step, so I was like, how's she gonna
And
magic
so I
this
have
up?
to, my loop from my hanger, I just put it back on.
Okay.
I'm going to hang it up. Your hanger, you're going to want approximately the same from the end. If I do this, I'm going to affect how
Actually, that doesn't look terrible either, but yes, I see what you're saying.
it'll affect your feather placement, right? Okay, so these two are in front of this one. Okay, I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. And then this one comes. Now when I look at this, I think this one has to go up a little bit. If I look here, I think it has to come up. So you're not, you can always go up, you can't pull it down. So I've already brushed this one out. That doesn't mean I can't move it.
Okay.
So I'm still going to, I'm going to move this up a little bit, and I'm going to say about there. Okay. So I slide them up.
So you can slide them after they're brushed.
Yes, up.
Up, but not down.
You don't have room to go down.
No.
So even with this one, if you find you want the placement to change a little bit. So here I had my knot.
Right.
I'm just going to grab my two ends and I'm going to do that. But that means I have to redo this.
Gotcha.
Right? Now, as Patty said, when I'm placing this one, it would have been easier if it was on here.
I don't know, just...
It would have been.
Okay.
I suggest you take all of yours and you start them off on your stick.
On the stick.
So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to slide this one on. Again, make sure your loop is on the front as with all the other ones. I'm going to slide this back on. Some of these steps, if you do this one,
they're different, eh?
There's not as much planning of sliding them on and off. I did this one where I did them all on the stick. I never slid them off because I could just arrange them how I wanted. The reason I'm being finicky with this one is because I want that V. Okay, so I'm gonna look at this, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yep.
Okay.
It could go down maybe just a tad, but not much.
Okay. If it just has to go down a little bit, I'm not even gonna redo my knot. I'm just gonna make the
tighter.
The veins tighter. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Okay. So, because I adjusted this one, this first one, I'm gonna have to recut the tail, the V. So I'm gonna go like this, and go like this. And you'll see on this one, it's not quite even there, but that's okay. You can trim up after you hairspray. And again, I'll show you that in a bit. So again, because I'm doing the symmetrical one, I want this to be even. So I'm going to slip this off. Keep my finger in there. Slip this on. I'm going to place it under this one. This is my one on the paint stick. I don't like how much of a gap there is there, so I'm going to just spread these out a little bit. And if you, like, when you're brushing, let's say you're brushing and this happens, all you have to do is take your ends and pull. You can just tighten them up. So again, you want to brush it like it's a Christmas tree shape. I'm going to put this one over top. And I'm just gonna make my little dots.
Okay, so my brain, I don't know, it runs a little different maybe than the average. Could you just cut that without putting the dots? You don't recommend that? Okay.
But it's gonna be tough
Okay.
because this one on top,
It
like if I do this, like it's hard to get it. Like, I mean, you can try. You know,
you might not get it exact the way you want it.
But you know what? If
Or
you're
you
not,
might accident cut the top one too, so.
But if you, like, I mean,
I'm a
you
bit
don't,
lazy in the crafting.
no, like, I mean, we can try it that way, sure.
Sandy always makes fun of me for the no prep. I'm just all about getting it done, you know?
So I definitely, you know, you
Just
can.
in case someone wanted to give this a whirl. This might not be for beginners. I don't know. You did good.
Okay. So
Then you might not, like if you already put those dots on, then you might not get all your dots off by doing it that way.
right. But you can just trim your dots off.
After?
Okay. So again, loops in the front, loops in the front. I'm going to put this back on. And this is where you're going to find the hairspray makes things so much easier for trimming. So I've got all my feathers on here and it's pretty crowded. So to hairspray, we're going to be hairspraying both sides. Let's get these out of the way. So when I hairspray, again, these aren't perfect, but that's okay. Thank you, Sandy. Just getting mine. I'm going to alternate it. I'm going to put one this way because I'm going to hairspray both sides. So before you hairspray, you want to have it brushed out. Okay, I've got this one brushed out. And what I can do is just pinch these together because the hairspray is going to hold it.
Is this aerosol hairspray? Is that what we have to use? Or?
Yes, use aerosol and extra hold if you can.
Okay.
And what's nice about using the hairspray is, let's say in a couple months you see that they're losing their stiffness, you can just give it another coat of hairspray. So you can see I've got the little, I had some little pieces from a gray. And then this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my hairspray. And you don't want to be too close. If you're too close, you're actually going to end up moving your cords.
Oh, yeah, from the pressure.
So you're just going to give it a coat.
I saw the gray one move when you did that, like,
Yeah,
compared to the other ones that have already
power
been sprayed.
From the aerosol. And we're actually going to be giving it 3 coats of hairspray. You do one side, let it dry, which doesn't take long. Then we're going to flip them all the other way. And then we're going to arrange them. Once we've arranged them, we give them all a hairspray. So what I did with this one is I arranged it the way I wanted it. Like they've all been hairsprayed 2 sides. I arrange it the way I want, and then I give it a hairspray. Kind of makes them stick together. So now I'm going to take these.
You don't really have to let it dry long?
No.
No.
Like, I mean, to tell you the truth, I'd probably leave it longer, but because I'm demonstrating. So now I'm going to even out my cords on this side.
Yeah, so you just want to make sure it's dry, not like sticky when you flip it over.
Yeah.
So more stuff doesn't stick to it.
But you can see how
easy it is. Yeah, I do see that.
That's why it's really important to
Can
keep
you lint roller that? Just a
maybe.
question.
I don't know. I haven't tried it. It's probably a good idea. I don't know, but the only thing is when you lint roll it, it may lift up your whole
It
cord.
might stick to it. Probably a bad idea.
Okay. Gotta do this one. And then I want to do this one. So I want to get, this is where the comb, I'm just going to do this to get the cord from the other ones out. So you want to do that every so often, because look, I've got cord on these. Okay, I'm gonna do another hairspray. Let it dry. I think a blow dryer would help to set it. If you want to do it faster, probably, hey?
Might move your things
Yeah,
around.
I would think it'd move your
That's
feathers
true.
around your
Yeah.
strings.
Okay. Again, I would wait longer, but because I'm demonstrating, I'm going to take this. This is going to be my front.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take this
Smells
one.
like my grandma.
Now this is where,
the hairspray.
so I bring mine back over. This is where it's great if you want to trim it up. So I've got a couple here that I want to just trim up here. Because of the hairspray, it just makes it that much stiffer. And sometimes when you brush it out, you get fuzzies. You can just...
That is a serious pair of scissors she's using there.
It's much easier to trim it up
Are those sewing scissors?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thought so.
with the hairspray in it. Because you can even lift it up a bit, and it's just that much stiffer that you're able to trim that much easier. Okay. I'm not going to trim up the black one much. So I'm going to do this. I want this one to be on top. Flip this one over. It definitely needs to be trimmed up. Now, when I do my feathers, again, you can go straight down. It's totally personal preference. I like to have a little bit of a curve at the top, so I just curve it a little bit at the top, but it's really not that important. But Sandy's told me before that I'm anal, so...
Well, you like it a certain shape, it's okay. But you could do them skinnier or, you know, whatever look you're going for.
Yeah, definitely. Right? Some people like them a little bit fatter.
Now that I'm seeing how you cut this and the mess that it leaves, now I understand why macrame projects are not multicolored. You know, like that the leaf isn't all the three colors together that you would be combing out, because it would just always be a mess.
Yeah. I have seen
Have you seen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where they use different colors in one leaf.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're cutting it too.
Yeah.
Must be professionals. We'll get there. We're nearly there, probably.
Here. It's a little bit easier when you can manipulate them a little bit too. So, because I'm all on the same side as my table right now, whereas I tend to move around, but with demonstrating. So I'm going to move this one over a little bit. Oh, see how I have this flipped? My spine. There we go. Just straighten that out. I'm going to put this one on top. That one on top. Just going to trim out my V a little bit. Like I said, when you have the hairspray in, it's a lot easier to trim it. So if when you cut it the first time, it's not exactly how you want it, that's okay. With the hairspray, you'll be able to adjust it. And then this one needs quite a bit of trimming.
Spots. So you did mention before that people could do one night and then, so how long do you think it would take someone who's never done macrame before to do this?
Like in one night?
Yeah, like in total. Couple hours?
Yeah. almost lost those. Okay. Now if I lift it up, I'm just making sure that these, you know, like,
Oh, wow.
okay, so I'm going to carefully lay it back down.
Let me get that background out of the way. We don't want to see that.
And now I'm going to give it,
Just take these all away.
it's still going to move once you get it on the wall a little bit. The hairspray just helps to hold it all
That's enough.
together. Yeah. That's why you want to use an extra hold. And then you would let this dry, and you're going to decide on the length that you want your hanger. So you can see this hanger is a lot shorter than this hanger, but we gave you a long cord so you can adjust it to what you want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten this up. So you're just going to keep these knots. And I'm just going to tie it a little bit tighter and bring it through. And I'm going to trim off my end. And I don't like how long this is, so I'm just going to take it off. And well, actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put my knot where I want it. Now this is totally a preference thing. Some people like to see the knots. You can leave them like that. If you don't want to see the knots, you can slide them in behind, use a hot glue gun to secure it in place. But that's a personal preference. If you're worried about you not coming out because you cut it too close, just put a dab of white glue on it, or glue gun again. Yep. And you're done your project. So we hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully we explained it well enough. And we'd love to hear from you to see how they turned out. Thank you.